Aloha and welcome to ICS 314 Software Engineering. I'm going to be your host for this semester, at least for the first couple sections of the course. My name is Philip Johnson. George Lee is going to be the instructor for the third section, at least I hope he will be. No, of course, he will be. This slide has some contact information. The TA for the first two sections is Danny Wang. Not sure who the TA is for George's section. He'll let you know about that. There's a course website for all three sections, a Slack workspace for all three sections, and the homework assignments and so forth will all be basically the same for all of the sections. The quizzes will vary from section to section, but otherwise things will be very consistent. My office is post 307. You can really come by anytime you see my door is open and say hello or ask me a question, whatever. Whenever my door is open, I'm happy to be interrupted from whatever I'm doing. The goal of this class, or the goals of this class, are to learn to efficiently build high-quality, reasonably large-scale software systems. And by reasonably large, I mean on the order of 100,000, 200,000, 200, 300,000 lines of code. If you get much beyond 500,000 lines of code, then you need other kinds of software engineering techniques that we're not going to teach in this class. But you can do a lot with a 200,000 or 300,000 lines of code. So this is a fairly useful set of skills. And we're also going to be talking a lot about software development with respect to open source licenses and open source communities. And I think this is also very useful, particularly to students, because the best way to make an impact early on in your career is by contributing to open source systems. So hopefully this will get you set up in a way that you can start to do that. Another goal of this class is to develop a professional persona, and by that I mean a professional portfolio that you'll be building, along with some essays that you'll write, and then membership in professional communities, LinkedIn and TechHui being the two most important ones. And the idea here is to start thinking about how future colleagues, graduate schools, employers, and so forth will learn about you and learn about what you have to offer. LinkedIn is necessary but not sufficient, in my opinion. Everybody has a LinkedIn profile. It's easy to write a few bullet points, but when you can augment that with a portfolio where you can dive down into more detail, that could be the extra edge that you have that other people don't, that gets you into the interview. And finally, you're going to be learning a lot of material in this class relative to other classes you've taken, and we're going to use this thing called an athletic educational pedagogy to help you acquire that material, to stay focused, to stay on task. Most people, actually 90% of the people, I take statistics on this, 90% of the students who use athletic software engineering prefer it to the other way, the kind of the normal mode in a classroom. So I'm increasingly confident that this is a good idea. It is a little stressful, particularly at first, but I think after you get into the groove, you'll see that it really does help you to, it incentivizes you to study and helps you study in an effective way, so that you can learn the material. And since in this class, the stuff you learn at the beginning of the semester, we build upon through the course of the semester. So it's real important to not get too far behind and to assimilate the material as you meet it. For this class, I'd like you to have at least a year background in programming. Hopefully you've built some homework assignment that was 1,000 lines of code or close to that. You definitely need to have taken already ICS 211. You can't take it concurrently. It's going to be too hard. Development environment, Unix, Mac, Windows 10 are all okay. Frankly, Windows is a struggle. You're really better off with Unix or the Macintosh flavor of Unix for development. And you need to have your own laptop because a lot of the work of this class will be done in class. So you're not going to come to class to just be lectured at. I don't think that's very effective. You can sit at home and I can lecture at you through these screencasts when lecturing needs to be done, and then in class we can actually try to get some work done. So for that you're going to need a laptop. I'll come back to the requirements for that in a minute. The other thing that you're going to need for this class is a lot of time. The work of doing this takes a lot of hours. If you put in the minimum number of hours, you're probably not going to get much more than the minimum out of it. This career is just one that takes a lot of time. So there's an opportunity here for you to get a lot, to really improve your technical chops through this course. I'm very, very confident, based upon what students have said and so forth, that the material in this class is really, really valuable to you. But you can't just read or kind of surf along, not put in the hours and have it stick. Because otherwise 2 weeks after the class is over, you'll just have you won't remember anything if you don't put the work in. So if you're working a full-time job on the side, it's a problematic situation in terms of getting the number of hours you need. So just be advised. We'll talk more about this, but you need a lot of time for this class if you're going to get something out of it. Okay, the other thing, a laptop. Here's my recommendations: 2 gigahertz processor, 16 gigabytes RAM, solid state drive. Recent version of the operating system's 11-inch screen. So we're talking $1,000 to get this through Dell, $1,200 through to get a MacBook, if you have one of these little tiny little netbooks, those are cute little things, great for surfing the web and watching a YouTube video. But you're going to be building a significant software system in this class, and you're going to be having to compile it and run it locally and create a full stack web app. So you need a laptop that's for software development, not a laptop for just playing around. Again, you can come talk to me if you're not sure whether you have what's required. Grading. It's something like 30, 20, 50 quizzes, the final, and writing programming assignments. I start off by saying, okay, 90 to 100 is an A, 80 is a B, 70 is a C. I reserve the right to adjust that downward, so maybe I'll say only 88% is enough for an A. But I'll never adjust it upward. So if everybody in the class gets 90%, everybody in the class gets an A. That's my goal, for everybody to get an A. I'm going to work hard to try to give you the opportunity to get an A, but you have to do the work to get there. But I firmly believe if you've done 111 and 211 and you've passed those classes, then you have the innate intelligence to be able to get an A in this class and assimilate the material. The question is whether you want to actually do it. So we're going to do this thing called athletic software engineering, and the idea is for each module there's going to be a skill, and I'm going to test your skill in class by giving you an assignment, and you have to solve the problem or develop the function or whatever it is within a certain time limit. If you don't get it developed within that time limit, then you don't get credit for that module or for that assessment. And the way that you make sure that you can solve things within the time limit is by practicing prior to that time. The other thing that you'll be doing a fair amount in this class is writing technical essays, because software engineering is a writing-intensive discipline, and this class, software engineering, is a writing-intensive class. So I want you to write a bunch of technical essays and post them in your professional portfolio. And by the end of the semester, that will mean that you'll not only have projects that you can show future colleagues, graduate schools, employers, but you'll also have technical essays that hopefully will give people a sense for your ability to write and your ability to express things clearly. So your professional persona is a very important thing. You're going to start off in this class building an initial version. My hope is that you will continue to develop it throughout the remainder of your college career and even onward. I'm still working on my professional portfolio after 30 years and adding things to it. In this class, you can do anything as long as you do not use someone else's work and submit it as your own. Okay, and minor rewriting to disguise it doesn't count. Okay, you can also not provide information if you're in an early section to any of the later sections. Okay, so those things are cheating. If I find that you've been cheating, I'm going to really bring the hammer down because there's just no reason to do it. I encourage collaboration. I encourage you talking with classmates, help them debug things. If you find some code on the net that you want to use for part of your projects, then you can include the code snippet and you write a comment saying where you got it from. Make it clear that you didn't write that code and it's all G. Okay, so the only time that it becomes a problem is when you submit something and submit it as if it was your work, even though it wasn't. Okay, don't do that. If you have any questions about this, just come ask me, right? And I can tell you, okay, here's how you can make it not cheating. Obviously, if the final project, if you just submit somebody else's final project and say, well, somebody else developed this, but I'm submitting this final project, you won't get a good grade because you didn't do any work. But that isn't the same as cheating. So just it's common sense. Finally, I want to say that I think it's software engineering, software development, high technology is a really important part of the future of Hawaii. We can't just be dependent upon tourism and the military. We have special problems here that we need to solve with respect to, food supply and energy and, homelessness. A lot of really important things that I believe technology can help us with, and that homegrown solutions can help us with. So, I feel strongly that you folks, can really make a difference being in high technology in Hawaii, and I hope that you learn about software development and you keep these skills here, and make a difference for your future and the future of your kids. All right, good luck. Have fun.